We're going to move on to Don, and Don, if it's okay with you, I'm going to introduce you and talk a little bit about who you are.
Well, that's okay with me, except I forgot who I was.
Because of the
Because of Joycelyn, yeah, thank you very much, dear. You brought up something that now I wonder who I am at all. I'm sitting here.
Well, we wonder that every day,
Don. What day is it?
But you're only 33, though. That's the upside.
But I'm always 33. That's my waist size, so you know.
All right. You tell me when I'm wrong. I'm going to start with this.
Okay.
You were born and raised in San Fernando Valley, California.
That's right.
Your earlier career was in radio for about 10 years as a DJ.
Yeah.
All right. You wrote cue cards for Lawrence Welk and worked with Carol Burnett and Robert Blake.
Yep.
Okay. But it was while you were working on the set with Mork Mindy as a crew member that you got your big break, because I believe, as the story goes, Gary Marshall made you a deal that if you could go out and get credit as a director, he would let you direct an episode of Mork Mindy?
That is correct.
Oh
He was one of the very few people in the entire industry that I found that actually did what he said he was going to do. Yeah, it was an amazing time. I went to him, and he was surrounded by all of his people, associate producers and editors and so forth. He was going from studio to studio at Paramount, and what happened was he was doing Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Mork Mindy, and a couple of others. And so I just kind of walked in between this entourage of his people, because they would go from one studio to the other studio to see the progressive rehearsals and shooting. So I walked up to him and I said, Mr. What was his name again?
Marshall.
Thank you. I'm 33. I went to
right on cue.
I went to him and I said, "Sir, I would really like to direct. I've been working on Mork Mindy. I worked in videotape for a ton of years, and I'm ready to do it." He says, "Well, you're a second assistant, and quite honestly, I can't do a thing for you. But if you go out and get yourself as James said, get myself a job and come back, we'll talk." So I went over to Benson, and I made a deal to associate direct 5 shows and direct the last one for that season. And I came back with a tape in my hand, and I walked into his office, and I said, "Here it is." And he looked at it, and his mouth fell open because he knew he was up against the wall, and he had to either put up or shut up, and he put up. And then eventually, they put me back as a first assistant, and then I worked my way into directing a few of the Mork Mindy episodes. I'm the only guy, I believe, that's still alive. Well, thank you, but I'm the only guy that actually had the opportunity to direct Robin Williams and Jonathan Winters at the same time. Boy, talk about a hoot.
Well, you directed Benson, you've directed Full House, but you pretty much directed almost every single episode of Saved by the Bell, over 200 episodes.
Over 200 episodes,
Yeah, and you have written 4 novels in addition to that. And let's see, is there anything I'm leaving out?
Well, the only thing that since we're talking about screenwriting, that's the emphasis of the show, I guess. I wrote 5 screenplays, and none of which sold. And they're all they're all looking for the latest blow-up picture. And so I had these 5 screenplays sitting there, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, why don't I turn those into novels? And so I sat down and went from screenplay to screenplay to screenplay to screenplay, and turned out 400 plus pages of novels, which I'm trying to sell, Bobby, and you can probably understand some of my my trepidation in that, because it's very hard to sell no matter where you are. And but one screenplay, this is the exciting part, I think. One screenplay seemed to work. And stayed as a screenplay. I didn't make a book out of it. And right now, 7 years later, after the recession and downturn of the economy and whatever, my partner and I, a fellow by the name of Skip Burrows, he and I have tried to produce this thing, and we finally got it to some people who actually have some money, and they say they want to do it. They like the screenplay, the budget's fine, it's not overly over the top. We think we can do it here in Las Vegas sometime at the end of the year.